So anytime we start talking about the transfer portal, the phrase "the transfer portal giveth, but the transfer portal also taketh" pops into my mind, because no college is safe from the portal's reach. And today we need to talk about two institutions, the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Oklahoma Sooners, who are both set to lose players to the transfer portal, and we need to discuss what it means. Before we can, as always, y'all know the drill, I have got to hear from you. Hop down to the comments, give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Do you think we're about to see fireworks inside the transfer portal? And let me know what you're thinking. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification, as I do constant college football content. You don't want to miss any of it. And if you enjoyed the content, be sure to like and comment down below. Those interactions seem small, but they truly are massive to content creators such as myself, and both getting picked up and maintained by the YouTube algorithm. But having said all that, let's jump right into this. And we're going to start with the Crimson Tide, as tight end Elijah Brown announces he's set to enter the transfer portal. And Elijah Brown came in a class where Alabama featured several tight ends. Danny Lewis, Amari Niblack, and Elijah Brown were the trio of tight ends that Alabama brought in. And in Elijah Brown's case, he was a top 300 prospect in the nation, specifically coming in at number 241 overall, the number 13 tight end, and the number 10 player in the state of Ohio. And I have no doubt that Elijah Brown won't be in the transfer portal long for several reasons. First and foremost, he's a former blue chip prospect who got to spend time in Alabama's room learning and going up against some of the best players in the nation. I think that's really compelling experience. And number two, the position he plays. If you've been around the channel, you know how much emphasis I put around the tight end position, especially in modern offenses. There's such a big mismatch. There's a team out there that's going to see Elijah Brown hit the transfer portal, and they are going to be very excited at the opportunity of trying to get in a very talented player. But what does this mean for Alabama? Well, the other day when Nick Saban was talking, I couldn't help but notice he was really happy with where the tight end room is right now. He talked about new tight end that Alabama got out the transfer portal, CJ DePire, and how he's been a really bright spot for that room. And at the point where Alabama got a transfer portal tight end, it seemed possible that a tight end could exit, and especially when Amari Niblack continues to progress. And Danny Lewis is a name that I think all Tide fans need to be very excited about, and we can't forget about Robbie Oots. So when you look at this, it makes sense. There are several names in the room that are really looking good. A transfer tight end comes, and at the end of the day, it's not like the defensive line where you can rotate in and out 4-6 guys and have a healthy rotation. You can get some rotation at the tight end position, and make no mistake, I think Reese will employ some 12 personnel sets, but at the end of the day, you're talking about 2 as opposed to 4 to 6. So I get a complete understanding for Elijah Brown to hit the transfer portal. For Alabama, luckily you got the veteran tight end out the transfer portal, and your younger guys in Lewis and Amari Niblack look like they're coming along. And it's important to note that with new offensive coordinator Tommy Reese, the tight end position is going to be featured at a higher clip, or at least in theory will be featured at a higher clip than we have seen the previous 2 years. So this is something we have got to watch. As I stated, I do not believe Elijah Brown's going to be in the transfer portal long. He's a tight end. He's a former blue chip. He came from Alabama. All things that are going to be compelling factors for some team out there, and I'm super interested to see where he ends up. All the best to him. But now we need to turn our attention to the Oklahoma Sooners, where the Sooners are set to lose a name that many Oklahoma fans have kind of expected could hit the transfer portal, and that's senior cornerback Jaden Davis, a former starter, an individual who started during the 2022 season until injury took him out. And Davis was someone who went to test the transfer portal before Brent Venables got there, and now he is in the portal. So what does this mean for the Sooners? Well, look, this is a bittersweet moment, because at the same time, this kind of points to the fact that your younger guys are developing. They're coming along, and you've got some talent in that DB room. But it's then bitter because Davis is someone who's been a Sooner for a while. He's someone who's played in games. He has experience, and at the end of the day, injuries are a real thing in college football. This is a violent game that we all love, and having a guy with the experience of Jaden Davis is something that can be really positive for any secondary. So at one level, you would have loved to have kept Davis because of his experience, but at the same time, Davis now has an opportunity to go out there and find somewhere where he can flourish, and hopefully a change of scenery is best for all parties involved, and sometimes it truly is that simple. A change of scenery can be a very powerful thing. So, what does this mean for Oklahoma? You're losing a guy that has some starting experience. You're losing a guy that has some really positive college football experience. What does this mean for that Sooner secondary? Should Oklahoma fans worry? And the answer to that is no. Look, I think as I started this out with when talking about Jaden Davis, this probably points to some of the younger guys really coming along, really flashing, and that's something you need to be excited about. There are several names that could come in and have an impact in this secondary. And at the end of the day, I think you love that you have some depth there. You love that you have some guys that were rotating in and out. You would have loved to have kept the experience, though. But I don't think this is something that Oklahoma fans need to worry about because it does indicate that there are guys coming along and probably ahead of schedule. And at the end of the day, that is a great thing, including a freshman so many of us have heard so much about in Wagner. Not saying that he's going to be a starter. You just get my point. There are guys that are ahead of schedule. There are guys that are really having strong showings. And that is a good thing. So the transfer portal hides from no team. Everybody will be affected. It's all about mitigating your losses. And one thing that's super interesting about college football right now, before we get out of here, you don't just recruit the high school guys anymore. Recruiting is now 24/7, 365. You got to keep the guys on your roster as well. So this is something we have got to watch going forward. Can't wait to hear from all of you. Hop down to the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. That's it. See ya.